you are once again welcome. In this lesson, we are going to dive into the actual code of React.js, how the files come together to display our web page. So because of that, I would like to start with a fresh application of React application. So to be familiar with the syntax is npx, right, create React app and then space, then my project name is demo2, so you can name it how you want it. So while it is installing, what we are going to do now is to delete every files in our project and start from scratch and explain to you how React renders our application. Now that you understand what a component is, and now you understand what React Virtual DOM is, it's now time to go back to React application, delete all those files, and write everything from scratch. Great. Now that it has finished installing, let's cd into the project demo2, right? And let me open it inside my code editor, like so. So let me arrange the files well here on my desktop and make it bigger, like so. Okay, now we are good to go. Next, let's start the application. Yarn start or npm start. So let's say our application is live on port. Okay, it's here. So let me also have one desktop here like that. Okay, now I didn't tell you what, when you run the server, you have what is called the localhost. There is a port we can access our React application, okay? And you can also use this link as well. Copy it into your browser and you see the same React application like so. Okay, so guys, the purpose for this lesson is to dive into the code of React.js. So I want to compare. So now, let's delete everything from the SRC. So delete everything from here, okay, from scratch. Okay, now that we have deleted it, let's start. Okay, so let's create a folder called src. Okay, and the first file we need is called index.js. This is really mandatory for React.js to know the files that if you make it capital letter or apart from index.js file, the application will not run. Okay, so let's go back to our application. As you can see, it has been crashed because we have deleted all the files that need. So inside the index.html file, first we need to import something from React. So we import React from React, like so. And next is let's import React DOM. Now you understand what is called React DOM, right? React DOM also from React DOM. Okay, and here on React DOM we have a function. Okay, so when you say React DOM.render, okay, this render takes in two arguments, right? Two arguments. The first one is what you want to render to the page. So if you look here now, because we don't have anything to render to our page, our application has been crashed. So the first one is what do you want to render? Let me make it large. First, I want to just render just h1 here and say my app. Okay, and the second one is where do you want to place this component inside our node or our DOM. So because of that, if you go to our public folder inside index.html, scroll down and you can see we have one div here called root. This is where we are going to put or place our component. Place component here behind the scene, and it will render to the page. So we are going to make use of what? React instead of JavaScript, right? Remember, React is JavaScript, okay? So we're going to make use of what? React to place the component in here. So we have to select the div, which is root. So when you come back here, we can declare a variable here and say const root is equal to document dot get element by id. The id was what? Root. Okay, like so. So all what we need is to pass in as a second argument here called root. Now save it. Okay, and that's all what we need to render. So when you save it and then you go back to application, let's restart our application again and see if we can see what we type in as h1, which is my app, exactly as we are talking about, as I was talking about here. So the takeaway here is that the React DOM has a function that takes in two parameters, right? The component you want to render and then where you want to place it. Okay, so normally instead of declaring a variable here and then place it here, we always be on one line. Just copy this one, right, and then paste it here instead of that. Okay, so let me delete this one. Let me also make it well. Okay, exactly. So it is same. So what we need to place here is a parent component. So instead of writing something like this one, we can create our own component and then place it in here, and it will work the same way as we did. So let's do that. So inside my SRC, let's create our own first component called app.js. Okay, and remember guys, components are what? React functions, right? So let's start it. So let's create our function const, which is app. Always we start with what? Capital letter. And in here, I want to return. Now, component always return React element. So if you understand React element, take it that component returns HTML. Okay, and HTML can be any HTML syntax you want. But remember, you need to start with curly bracket like this if you want to place more HTML files. For example, if you want to just display only one React element. When I say React element, I'm referring to HTML syntax, right? Good. So when I say h1 here, like so, and I will say hello. Okay, so now I want to use this component instead of this normal h1. So I will come here and make it available by what? Exporting as default, say app, and then go back to my index.html file and then bring in that component. It's a function called app from one app.js, and instead of h1, let's remove it and then place in our app. That's how we use component, right? And then close like that. Save it. Go back application and you see we have hello, who is coming from where? App component. Now, if you want to add more HTML, for example, another HTML tag, say, let's say paragraph or P, and say, let me give this a run page. You can see it gives us a nice error. So if you want to embed or write multiple lines of HTML, you need to place them in bracket, like so. And in there, you have to have a parent. Let me make it div. And in here, we can type in any HTML syntax you want here. So first, what we need is the h1. So let me say h1, say welcome to my app. And I want to have a paragraph P. Let me say paragraph and just a demi text. Save it. application. Voila. So guys, this is how we create a component from scratch. We delete all the files and start from scratch, and we're able to display our page to React. Okay, that is what we are expecting from this